To note for today's matchup in Atlanta, Joe Ross returns from the DL to make his first start since early July. Trey Turner has 3 homers in this series, 27 hits in 12 games against the Braves. The magic number to clinch is 6, so it's almost time to get excited. So for the Nats, this is it for downtown Atlanta. Last game they will ever play at Turner Field, new ballpark coming next year. Time to pose for a picture, and that's what the baseball might be looking like to Trey Turner right about now, the way he's going. Bob and Ray, welcome back. We missed you guys yesterday. Finale of the series, and it's on to Miami. And we see Joe Ross. Dusty says he'd like to get around 3 innings or so. We'll watch the pitch count. But it's good to see him back for the first time since early July.
It really is. This guy is special. A lot of guys in the league, when you talk to the scouts, rate him right up there with the top 15 or 20 arms in the league. It's really important that he gets off to a good start today so that he can get in those 50, 60 pitches. He may even go 4 innings. If his pitch count is short in those first 2 innings, you may push him to 55 pitches, but I don't think Dusty's looking for more than around 50 pitches.
All right, so paying dividends, that trade with San Diego and Tampa Bay from a couple of years ago, it's not only Joe Ross, but it's Trey Turner. He's had another amazing series here against the Braves. They can't get him out, and we're talking about singles, steals, doubles, triples, and home runs. He's doing it all at the top of the lineup.
7 for 9, the most exciting young player I've seen come to games since Mike Trout, and he reminds me a lot of Mike Trout. He has all those great qualities. He knows how to play the game, obviously all the talent in the world physically, but mentally he's way ahead of himself. He plays like a 30-year-old. He makes the adjustments very quick. Great aptitude, the great power, and all that energy.
All right, in 12 games against Atlanta, hitting 27 for 56, that's 482, so don't miss his first at bat. To you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. By Joe's Seafood, Prime Steak, and Stone Crab. And by USAA Insurance, Banking, and Investments tailored for the military community. Our last time downtown here in Atlanta. It's been raining all morning, but it's stopped. Skies are cloudy, but okay. Who would have thought a couple of hours ago we had a chance to even play today? It'll be 74 at game time. Humidity with the rain in the area way up. Breeze barely has the flags on the move. And here come the Nats with Trey Turner leading off. And then there's down to Wilson Ramos, who has always hit the Braves well. Over nearly the last two regular seasons, 302. Extra base hits, RBIs. And then Ben Revere's in center. Daniel Murphy has the day off with Turner playing second. And Ryan Zimmerman on the bench today with Clint Robinson at first. Defoe is the third baseman. Here's our Coons.com scouting report. Over 2 million vehicles sold and counting as we look at Matt Whistler, 23-year-old right-hander, making his 43rd big league start. Yeah, it's been a while. He faced the Nats early this year, a 3-0 Washington victory at Nationals Park, 3 runs, 4 hits. And a word to the Wis or the Wise, you better be sharp early against a team that leads all of baseball in first inning scoring. Nats at 256, 400, or rather fourth in the league with 700 home runs. So Ray looking for that early start as they usually do with this guy in the batter's box.
Oh, yes, we are. And he tends to give us a big jolt early. Whistler, you're going to see his fastball. It's not going to run more than 94 maxed out, 93, pretty much 92 to 93. He can't get up there at 94. I did see a couple of 95s 2 years ago, or a year ago, when he went 8-8. He has a slider that's more slurvish, has a tough time getting that over, occasional changeup. He works with his fastball mostly.
1-1 to Turner. Up the middle, but that's where they're playing him. To his right, Jace Peterson on a close play. Trey is out. So a new wrinkle for an opponent's defense. I don't know that we've seen anybody playing that straight up the middle as Peterson was.
Well, the pitcher's there. I mean, you know, unless the ball is bolted, the pitcher makes a play up the middle. I've not seen anybody play Trey that way. You very seldom see anyone play any hitter right back up the middle.
Yeah, the only other one I can think of on the Nats is Ryan Zimmerman.
Yeah, and he's still a little bit more toward first, generally.
So here's Jason Worth, fastball in there. Worth in the series, 3 for 8. RBI total up to 64 with 4 this weekend. And another one up the middle. They're going to play everybody there?
Looks like it. Until he throws a breaking ball, then you're going to hit that right to the left to second base.
So the Braves are 11th in the league in defense. Ender Inciarte, second most outfield assists with 14. On the infield, Dansby Swanson up the middle with Jace Peterson. Donis Garcia, Freddie Freeman back in the lineup at the corners, and Andy Fletcher, 18-year veteran, has the plate. Joe West is the crew chief at third. Yeah, so you look at the first couple of bats, and you would think the Nats would have 2 on, nobody out. Maybe Bryce Harper gets a jump start in the 3 spot today. Daniel Murphy not starting. And the Braves have pitched Bryce well. Couple of walks on Friday, 1 intentional. But against Atlanta this weekend, 0 for 7.
As we get along in this game, I'm going to talk a little bit about overshifts and defensive alignments and how they go about doing it nowadays. Give you a little bit of background history. That all got started, and I remember Ted Williams, the first guy that they ever really played that, as I always call, rank pull, where you pull 3 guys on the right side of second base.
And a strike to Bryce, 2-1.
A lot of late action, and look at this pitch. Outside, away. They've been pitching Bryce away, 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 away. and then throwing him inside. He's chased some pitches a little up and in the strike zone. There it is right there, another pitch up. He's not a high ball hitter. You know, he can hit the ball out away from him up, but there is an area right around that 34 there. If you get above that, he tends to foul that ball back. Now, if it's a breaking ball, you see it a little bit more and certainly speeds up your bat, and you can do something with that. But especially this year, Bryce hasn't gotten his hands up on those high fastballs.
Base is empty, 2-2 pitch. Up the middle, and this time it's the shortstop.
Mercy.
So, hitting coaches for over 100 years hit the ball hard up the middle. Well, the Nats did it, and they go 1-2-3. Freshman here on a Sunday afternoon. Braves are 8th in the league in hitting. These guys are hitting .299 as a team in September. Freddie Freeman's the big reason. Unbelievable. 21-game career high hitting streak. That's what he's doing since the All-Star break. 27 for 82. He extended his hitting streak with a base hit a second time up yesterday, returning to the lineup. And our Coons.com scouting report, over 2 million vehicles sold and counting on Joe Ross, as he will make, Ray, that first start since way back on July 2nd against Cincinnati.
Yeah, Bob, what we're going to look for here first is control, command, how many balls he throws near the plate. That will tell you if he's gotten his mechanics down. That's the first thing that you struggle with, and you struggle with the longest. So then once we see that and see if he's around the plate, we'll look at velocity. I'm not going to worry too much about velocity. Certainly we'll see it flashed up there. But, you know, he normally throws 92, 93. So let's just look and see if he throws strikes.
And up there hacking is Ender Inciarte. He's had a great series. But on one out, he's down. He was 5 for 9 with a walk. So he was trying to ambush our starter. Maybe he tried to hit one out of the yard. Garcia next. You talk about control, Ray, and Ross, in his last 5 starts, only walked a total of 4 men. And really only 3 in his last, or rather 2 in his last 3 starts. So Joe's a command guy, and we'll see how quickly that manifests itself. Good call by you, and let's keep an eye on that. Here's Adonis Garcia, and there's a strike.
Slider, second pitch. That tells me he feels comfortable. 94, first pitch, real good velocity, and there's his slider. So everything looks good right now.
Out of play, right side.
Well, what a boost he would be to get him back and have him serviceable in some way, some role.
Swing and a miss on a great looking slider. Garcia, no chance to reach that. He's the kind of hitter you don't have to throw him a strike with to a count of 1 and 2.
Well, how many times have we seen this? This is the control we talk about. Forget about the break on that slider, which was filthy. Look at the location. Started it on the outside edge of the plate, maybe an inch or two off, working 8, 9 inches off the plate. Hitters can't stand it. They chase it, and he gets a strikeout.
Well, here comes a test. Slider down and in. Swing and a miss, Freddie Freeman.
Well, I think the control issue, we'll just go ahead and check that one on off.
Didn't take long.
As you said, Bob, I mean, he hasn't thrown a ball yet, I don't think.
And then Freeman lunging for that one. Nats defensively today, Ben Revere in center, moving Trey Turner to second. Clint Robinson at first base. Wilmer Defoe at third. So quite a bench. Goes down and in again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Freeman in this series 1 for 4 with an RBI. Right out of the top of the league in extra base hits. And how about the top of the strike zone right there? Joe Ross. Could the first inning have gone any better? A first pitch fly ball and then 2 Ks. All over the place. Let's have a look at our Geico highlights. 15 minutes could save you 50% or more on car insurance. And Ray, they're playing everybody up the middle.
Yeah, they surely are. They're playing them to the pull side, just short of pull, rank pull on the other side, line drive, then on the other side shifting. And you know, we hit a lot of balls up the middle, but you know, to overshift a guy like Trey, who has been able to hit the ball to right field a lot, and you know that Worth hits the ball all over the ballpark.
I guess considering what we just saw in that first inning, it would have been interesting to see Murphy hit, because he hit so many balls through the shortstop hole. I'm not sure they can do that with him. So here's Clint, and it's up and away. Daniel Murphy's 1 point behind DJ LeMahieu in the batting race. LeMahieu really swinging the bat well along with Murph. 349 to 348.
Bob, when you play pull, rank pull, 3 guys on one side, put a guy at the shortstop, you're really depending on your pitcher to make a good pitch, because if you do not play your defense and pitch into the teeth of your defense, if you're playing everybody to pull, you got to pitch them inside. You got to throw sliders inside, all-speed pitches inside.
Nobody can catch that one.
That's
beyond the reach of Dansby Swanson, and he almost got to it. So 4 balls up the middle, and the Nats finally have their first base hit. Clint Robinson now batting around 280 the last 25 times he starts.
Well, he tries to get in with the fastball. He gets it up. It runs back over the plate. He didn't hit it real hard, but he certainly squared it to get a line drive to center field. Now, I'm going to really be concerned when they start doing like they do in softball and pull that outfielder in there right behind second base. Then I'm going to really get concerned.
Here's Wilson Ramos, 0 for 4 on Friday. Pedro Severino got a start behind the plate yesterday. Had a walk in 3 trips. That ball kind of staying upstairs and not doing a whole lot. Ball 1. Looks like the sun is trying to break through these clouds here. Get a lot brighter at the yard now. Short lead by Robinson.
Little consideration about making out lineups. When you stack Robinson and Ramos together, as slowly as they run, and then Revere, who doesn't hit the ball very deep, and they play him shallow, it's going to take at least 3 hits, maybe 4 hits to score a run if Robinson and Ramos are on base, because you're not going to hit a ball to the outfield and be able to score them if you hit it very hard.
Pass ball away. And again, this field took a lot of rain this morning, so I know these modern fields drain like crazy.
Slowing it down, getting it to the outfield.
Yeah, and there'd be a lot of guys picking up wet baseballs at least for a while out there. I mean, it came down hard all morning long.
So your theory is go ahead and run him, and he's going to throw it away.
No, I'm going to wait for them to boot one, I think. 2-1. Ramos to the left side. Shortstop Swanson. Second baseman Peterson. Jace Peterson knew he had plenty of time on the 6-4-3. Next up is Ben Revere, and his Garden Gnome is coming a week from Tuesday when the Nats are back home. It's all presented by Delta Airline for the first 25,000 fans to enter Nationals Park, the Nats, and Arizona, and bring home this year's Gnome. Visit nationals.com/tickets. Ben Revere 0 for 3 with a walk career against Matt Whistler. One for 1 with a pinch hit yesterday in the series. You know what happens when you hit one there? They were at least playing Revere to pull, and the shortstop Swanson throws him out. Things happening quickly today.
Air Force and all the military members around the world, you're the true heroes.
Well said, Coda Glover. Thank you, sir. Bottom of the second coming up. Kemp, Markakis, and Flowers. We invite you to watch the Drive to the Pennant with MLB.TV Premium, every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 supported devices, and also a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout, other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV. Joe Ross, first inning, 8 pitches, 7 strikes. Matt Whistler threw 2 innings, 19 pitches, 12 strikes with a double play ball. Mets had almost a miracle win last night. Curtis Granderson hit 2 different home runs in extra innings, and they're up 2-0 early today on the Minnesota Twins. Magic number is 6. 3 in Miami coming up off day Thursday, and then 3 in Pittsburgh. Ross to Kemp. Matt 1 for 3 career with an RBI against Joe. He's on a 9-game hitting streak with 16 hits. And Matt's had a good series, 4 for 7. Boy, that slider is sharp.
Well, this is just the way that I remember him, and that is what you want to see. Is you just want to see him the way that you remember him in your mind's eye. I've seen so many pitchers in my career, and you get a vision, you get kind of an image in your mind what the slider looks like, the fastball, the delivery, and everything looks just the way it was when he left.
A leap by Danny Espinosa, and he couldn't get to it. Matt Kemp just flaring one for the first Atlanta hit. Good contact has been hard to come by, the way these hitters are being jammed by Whistler and Ross. So the fastball running in there, and then that combination with the slider away. So Matt Kemp now on 10-game hitting streak. Nick Markakis swinging the bat well. He's on a 9-game streak with 13 hits. Nice running fastball to the inside edge. Right side. 2 on, nobody out. So the Nats hoping for a ground ball at somebody, not playing Markakis to pull. And now he has a 10-game hitting streak.
Fastball, middle of the plate. He doesn't hit it very hard. He just hit it perfectly, squarely in that hole. This infield's pretty quick.
Catcher Tyler Flowers is next. So Joe Ross off the stretch now for his 2nd consecutive hitter. Flowers, a couple of RBIs in the series, 1 for 3. Wilson Ramos does a double take, throwing the ball back. He thought that was a strike. Turned to his left and probably had a word with Andy Fletcher. Minnesota has picked up a run, top of the 2nd. 2-1 Mets. They're throwing Gabriel Inoa today.
There's a shot right there of the defense. Everybody's straight away. Outfielders left and center deep. Rice cheating again in right field. There's no way that Kemp's going to score on a ball that is hit out there even semi-hard, unless it's just a little blooper.
Ramos moves inside again. Yeah, that pitch number 1 looks like Andy Fletcher made a good call. It was indeed off the plate. Nissan on the pitch track, showing jammage, and a 1-2 with nobody out.
More sliders than fastballs. He's usually about a 65% fastball guy, 40. Right around 40, 35 to 40. Slider 60 to 40.
Got inside on the hitter. It's Ben Revere. Kemp is tagging, so's Markakis. Kemp will go to third, Markakis stays. Productive out for the Braves, 1 down. You know, Ray, I was thinking about that. More sliders than fastballs. Is that unusual when you're facing Freeman, Kemp, and Markakis back to back to back? Because those guys can hit anybody's fastball.
It's not unusual. If you can bury the slider in there like he can, you know that sweet spot for left-handed hitters is down and in. But Joe doesn't leave very many of those sliders on the plate when he is throwing to left-handers. He starts that ball pretty much on the plate and works it to their back leg.
Here's Jace Peterson. Left ankle sprain, and that's a foul ball. The reason he was scratched from the lineup on Friday night, he was originally in there, didn't play yesterday, so he's back. 1 for 3 career against Ross.
So there's a slider, and even though it was up, that's a mistake pitch because it's up. It's boring so hard in on him that he can't do anything but hit it foul. If he hits it hard, he can jam himself or actually get jammed and bloop it over first.
Hard guy to double up. He's hit into 7 double plays all year. It's have to be pretty hard right at somebody. And Ross will miss away. 1 ball, 1 strike. First pitch at 1:36. We're just into the 2 o'clock hour. Turner Field in Atlanta. FP off for the weekend. Ray Knight next to me, watching the Nats in a rubber game, trying to win another series. They are 15-3 against the Braves this year. 6-2 here. Well placed. So far, the Nats bats guiding directly to the Braves defense, but Atlanta with some tweeners here, and they lead 1-0.
I will say this about the slider, and we talk about shifts. If you're going to throw it as often as Joe's throwing it, it's going to be inside. They're going to pull it. See that slider working right inside? You're going to pull it. So we might shift just a tad that way, even though you're in a double play situation. If Joe makes a pitch he wants to make, then it's going to be really tight to the hitter, and he's going to have to pull it.
Here's the shortstop, Dansby Swanson. Now he gets that call on that first pitch fastball in there. Swanson in the series, Milwaukee's 1 for 7.
Way to combat that a little bit, and I didn't pay attention these 3 or 4 bats with the left-handers. If you see a guy throwing slider, 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 slider to all the left-handed hitters, all you have to do is back up about 2-3 inches off the plate.
And that ball slicing well foul,
Bob, and not let the catcher see it. Just kind of get your foot in there, dig it out, and then that gives you more room on the inside part of the plate and allows you to keep the ball fair. And knowing that anything that feels close to you is going to be a ball. I don't see that much anymore. We used to move around all the time in the batter's box. If a guy would go one way, if he was short with a changeup and that was getting you out, or a split finger, you would move forward. Big curveballs, you would move forward. Guys that threw you away, you might move onto the plate a little bit.
swing and a miss. 94 and nasty, sinking to the right-handed batter. And for Joe Ross, strikeout number 3, 2 down.
Well, you start throwing it away and then run it in there like that with that much sideways movement. that's a hitter's nightmare. The slider at least gives you a chance to catch up with it because it's 85, 86. That fastball boring in on you at 93, 94. And Bob, you and I have talked about it. The closer the ball is to you, the farther out front you have to get the bat. And it's a deadly combination when Joe's right. With the slider going away from the right-handed hitter, sinker going into the right-handed hitter, it's kind of like you come in there and they split, going left and right. And if you try to hit that slider to right field, it'll wear your hands out on the inside part of the plate.
Counts even, 1-1. Matt Whistler, they can swing it. 6 hits, couple of RBIs this year. 10 for 72 career. Paint at 93, strike 2.
That mitt's popping. He's throwing the ball well. Throwing the ball very well. He's up to 30 pitches, so that's 15 an inning. So that tells me that, like Dusty said, Dusty figured 45, 50 pitches. He'll only go 3.
Swing and a miss on a slider away. First 6 outs, 4 swinging strikeouts. The Braves on 3 singles, 1-0. Of the United States Air Force, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces and their families for over 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA. By DynCorp International, proudly serving our nation for 70 years. Initially part of the U.S. Army, the Air Force was formed as a separate branch of the military September 18th, 1947. While the Air Force celebrates that date as its official birthday, the history of the branch stretches nearly as far back as the airplane itself. Daniel Murphy getting a day off. Joe Ross, 30 pitches, 22 strikes so far. Throwing the ball well. Hey, just a couple of ground balls, found some holes. He'll bat third after Espinoza and Defoe here, top of the third. Danny, couple of hits and a walk career against Matt Whistler. 2 for 6. And this one high in the air, short center. Swanson waving off his center fielder for the first out. And a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller Time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. It was Wilmer Defoe, 10 for 37 in 21 games, so a healthy .270 batting average. Garcia on the grass at third. And he still showed bunt and tried to, I don't know, maybe drag it down the first base line with him.
No doubt about it. He was trying to actually pull that ball right by the pitcher. Second baseman is so deep. If you get the ball by the pitcher, you can walk to first base. And he was just trying to take that ball with him, not necessarily drag it down the line, but take it with him and get it by the pitcher.
Matt Whistler, 23 years of age, career 14 and 20. And Defoe, fair ball. That's as easy as it gets for a first baseman. Freddie Freeman, 2 outs. Next up, Joe Ross, who can hack. Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Jeep. So the Nats, total domination of the Braves since the beginning of 2015. Plus 87 on the runs, scoring almost 6 a game. A lot of runners in scoring position. They've been scoring in lots of home runs. Joe Ross, welcome back. Bullet. Evidently was able to get his swings in while he was on the DL. I mean, that's the hardest any Nat has hit the ball today. 2 base hits from Washington.
You don't hit it any harder than that. That is a bullet. He's up there ready. Look at that leg kick, short leg kick, quick swing. Doesn't look like a pitcher hitting. Looks like a hitter. He is a hitter. What a nice swing he has.
Batting average .270 on the year. 10 for 37. Well, anytime you can get an inning to Trey Turner against the Braves, you've done a good thing. 7 for 10 in this series. That ball right through Tyler Flowers, and Ross down to second base. Certainly looked like a blockable pitch. I think they've already announced wild pitch.
Excuse me, Bob. Braves have been throwing a lot of fastballs to Trey. Here you see this pitch, breaking ball. Does it hit the ground? Bad job. You've got to put the mitt on the ground. You should go to your knees and have a slight angle toward the mound so that when the ball does kick up, if it does hit you in your chest protector, that angle keeps the ball out in front of you.
Yeah, suspect wild pitch call there. Turner, and that ball is going to be right at Inciarte. Nats have a couple of hits. They've stranded 1. Whistler and the Braves lead by 1. By Hair Cuttery, home of the smile back guarantee. No small print, just big smiles. Come on. Great place to be at the ballpark on a Sunday afternoon in September. Braves are drawing some pretty good fans down the stretch. Some nice attendance figures as they count down the games in this ballpark. You can look forward to next year as a Nats fan. 2017 Nats Plus memberships on sale. You can secure postseason tickets for this October and guarantee access to the 18 All-Star Game. A lot of exclusive things, experiences, rewards, and access. Membership provides them all. 202-675-NATS or log on to nationals.com/Nats Plus. This will not be remembered, in my opinion, as a great ballpark. They did probably about as good a job as they could converting an Olympic stadium into a baseball park.
I'm with you on that, bud.
But it will be known as a ballpark that hosted some unbelievably successful teams.
14 years in a row.
Yeah, and that started the first, they were kind of almost to the middle of that. That streak started in '91. They moved in here in '97 after the '96 Olympics. But SunTrust Park, as a true baseball park, will be a much better facility than this for the game of baseball. But my, oh my, what teams they had here in just a short 20-year history. Strike one to Ender Inciarte.
John Sherholtz, the architect of those ball clubs.
He and Bobby Cox together for so many years.
So much like Mike Rizzo in that they both believed in pitching, strong minor league system, continued to develop pitchers, and they had a group of 5 or 6 or 7 guys coming along. And of course, you know, the Smoltz and the Glavins and the Maddoxes. Steve Avery may have been as good as any of them, and he got hurt.
Yeah.
The game he pitched against Pittsburgh, and I believe it was '91, '92. I did that game for another network, and he only threw like 85 pitches. First pitch strikes for the first 15 hitters. That was unreal. Won that game 2-1.
John Sherholtz still the only GM to win a World Series in each league. 85 with the Royals. 10 years later with the Braves when they beat the Indians in 6. Just goes to show you, no matter how much regular season and early October success you have, how hard it is to get to that finish line. Yeah, that one a little different color than all the others. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Joe Ross gets in on the hands of Inciarte. Inside out swing for a foul.
That 1995 season was magic for them. I was with Davey Johnson in Cincinnati. We won our division, and we played Atlanta 3, and they started Maddox, Glavin, and Smoltz. Beat us 3 in a row. We had bases loaded in the first inning off of Maddox with nobody out, and we didn't score. The next night we had bases loaded with nobody out, Glavin pitching, didn't score. That's pretty hard to do. I was coaching third base, and we had Reggie Sanders, and they just kept elevating the fastball right about chest high, and he kept swinging at it.
Things you remember from the third base box. Huh?
Oh my gosh.
3-2 now. I tell you, look at the Braves lineup. This guy leading off, as solid as any outfielder in the league.
Oh, he's
Freeman,
a good player.
Kemp, and Markakis in the middle. The young Swanson at shortstop. They've got the makings of a good lineup. They just need some pitching, and they need a lot of pitching. Bringing some of the young guys along. 3-2, and that ball is ripped into the right field corner. And foul.
And they have no speed. Inciarte is the best they have. He has 15 stolen bases, and nobody else really can run on the ball club. Swanson can run. I take that back. He can run. But they're going to be really solid defensively with him and Freeman. Garcia plays a pretty good third base. And I think they're going to want more than 55 RBIs out of their third baseman, though.
And Jace Peterson has good speed. Ankle bothering him right now, but we know he can run. And look at Inciarte. He has an on-base percentage of over .350, so not spectacular, but as I mentioned, solid. He throws people out from the outfield. He's just a really good ball player. Yeah. And he's only 25.
Yeah, and he's a guy that knows what his strengths are, his limitations. He just tries to make contact. He doesn't overswing. 3 home runs on the season, just 27 RBIs, but he's a guy that will set the table for you.
Doesn't run a ton. 15 out of 22 this year. Here's Adonis Garcia, who Ross got ahead of first time and then struck him out on a slider that was not a strike.
Well, if there's anything I've learned about this guy, and I certainly don't want to put the whammy on Joe, is he can hit a slider. If you throw him a good one, he's not going to hit it. He's not going to generally foul it off. He can hit a fastball, and you'd certainly hang any breaking ball over the plate, but he's geared for the number 1. Off-speed stuff gives him a lot of trouble. They're going inside with him, though.
Yeah, so getting ahead of him, the big key. And now it's 0-2.
Yeah, and he's a hacker. He's going to swing at most anything. Kemp's a great addition for them. If he gets himself in shape and gets back, loses about 15 pounds or so, you know he can hit. But he was always a good runner. But you're right, man. It starts and ends with good starting pitching depth.
All right, does he get an 0-2 slider? He did.
Inside, though.
Yeah, it was up and in front door, and it didn't do a whole lot. So fortunately, pretty far inside.
Let's see if he can break one off, because one sign of getting a little tired, he's thrown nothing but good sliders. Then he throws one that's kind of a helicopter. I would go right back to the slider and try to get it where I want it and make sure that you're not seeing arm fatigue or leg fatigue already. See?
Yeah, that one was hanging. Joe reacted in frustration when that ball went into left field. I bet he wanted to throw that for a strike and then have it buried down and away.
Absolutely. The last 2, and you can just tell. You can tell. You know, you go down there to the minor leagues, you go and you throw 3 innings, you throw 60 pitches, you take 2 or 3 starts, and it's not the same intensity. It's not the same duress. It's in a very relaxed environment. You're just wanting to go out there, get your work in. Now you're up here, you're throwing 50 pitches, and they're all stressful. So that's like 75 pitches if you were down there. And when you start seeing a slider hang after you're seeing nothing but really good ones, then you just want to see, as a coach or a pitching coach or manager, you want to see the good slider again. And he didn't make it, so that makes me start thinking, okay, he's about at the end of where he needs to be. You know what I mean, partner?
Yeah, that looked like a straight change to Freddie Freeman and went outside.
Maybe the first one he's thrown today.
Yeah, and I think that last pitch to Garcia, perfect illustration of your point. That thing just sat up there and didn't do anything. But he's still,
there's a good one.
When he throws it at the plate and lets it break off the plate,
well, he
is really
to do
tough.
That. I mean, he means to do that. He's the 2 bad ones he didn't throw, meaning to throw them up. He meant to throw them right there in that place. That's where he always wants to throw it. I mean, if he could throw it there every pitch, he would throw it there every pitch, because it's not a hittable pitch.
Mercedes-Benz there tracking a beauty. 1-1 to Freeman. Turner in a pull position at second. Freddie Freeman. And wherever the Nats station their infielders, the Braves hit it somewhere else.
Well,
bases loaded, nobody out.
I hope they go back and look at Freddie Freeman's at bats. And I do want to talk about it. And I guess now's as good a time as any with nobody out. But the way we used to do this was the eye test. Someone would watch every hit, every ball that was put in play, and they would chart it on a piece of paper that was like cardboard paper or construction paper, and then you would draw the line, you would put the pitch, you'd put the location, and then you would do it and do it and do it. Well, Davey Johnson, Sparky Anderson thought 100 at bats wasn't enough. They just didn't think that was a big enough size sample. Because you got to see a guy when he's going good, when he's going bad, in his second year, in his third year, and then you come up with, after 200 or 300 at bats, where you want to play him. Now they don't do that anymore. They just go to some company.
On the first pitch, a high fly by Matt Kemp. Here comes Bryce. Inciarte not going anywhere. Bryce just has to hit the cutoff man. Clint Robinson, 1 out.
That's providing a service. They send you computer copies or printouts of all the at-bats that they have logged. Well, my question is, who's doing the logging? Is it the same guy? No, it can't be the same guy. You can't have the same guy at the same game, and it still has to be done manually to log where the ball's hit. So say if you've got 25 guys working for whoever, Major League Baseball, and they're the ones that's providing the service. They may see it 25 different ways. I mean, it may be 8 feet more pull or 8 feet more to the center. And I don't like the overshifts. I think in situations with runners on first and second, you play straight away with guys like Freddie Freeman. He's not a pull hitter. He can pull the ball, but he hits the ball everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm thinking also for the sake of your pitchers, if they throw a double play ball, they get rewarded with a double play.
Yeah, doggone right.
You know, and I know that, you know, and FP and I have talked about this numerous times. There's a plus side, there's a minus side to it. Today just looks like one of those days where whatever the Braves hit rolls into the outfield. Markakis pulled it on the ground first time. He's going to pull a line drive into the seats, well foul.
Well, Bob, my point is, you plus minus, you know, the point that I'm making is there are hitters like a Ryan Howard. If you throw him inside, he's going to hook the ball somewhere down there between first and second, not get it in the air. If you pitch him away, he's going to hit the ball the other way. He's going to pull the ball. He's going to pull it if you bust him inside. So you can play him that way. You know, you can. There's other hitters that you can do that to. Chris Carter pulling. You know, but who on our ball club hits the ball in the same spot all the time?
0-2 pitch here. Markakis really eager to drive in some runs, and he came nowhere close to that.
My brother, that is unhittable. That started on the inside corner and almost hit his back kneecap. But you can't pick it up. The rotation's so tight, he throws it so hard, and it's filthy.
2 outs, and Tyler Flowers next. You saw the bullpen. Matt Grace, Reynaldo Lopez. So maybe Grace up if the inning gets to Jace Peterson, who's next. And Lopez would be, you would think, a likely candidate to piggyback onto Joe Ross, who's out of the inning if this ball gets caught, and Trey Turner takes care of that. So he had a great inning, then he gave up a run, then he had some real adversity, and he passed most of the tests today. All-wheel drive and unexpected performance. Visit buyatoyota.com today. Top of the 4th inning, Joe Ross, 51 pitches, 38 strikes. That was a real test. He got Kemp, Markakis, and Flowers, and it didn't take him too many pitches on which to do it. So it's Worth, Harper, Robinson, 2, 3, 4 for the Nationals, top of the 4th.
Well, I'm excited. I really am excited. I'm excited for the kid, and I'm excited for the Nationals. I'm excited for the Nationals fans. You have a guy, Joe Ross, who can pitch up here, get people out, and can dominate. And tonight, or this afternoon, he did pass every test. The fastball 93 to 94, crackling, the slider really solid for the most part, through strikes. Welcome back.
Here's Jason Worth. Line drive up the middle first time, and Jace Peterson caught it. Maybe a step or two to the right of where he's playing right now, his right. One.
He's going to start getting that slider out away from these hitters a little bit. They're going to start shooting that ball right through that gap where the second baseman should be standing. And that's a pretty big gap right there.
Whistler, by the way, averaging 9 pitches per inning, his first 3. And we're thinking about going that way. Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers, every time the Nats hit a home run, and there have been 190 of them, $250 to the Children's National Health System from Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. We call it Lexus Home Runs for Children. Yeah, Worth with those level off swings, thinking the other way.
Bob, I want to show you the holes. Look at this big hole here between first and second, and the big hole between short and second. You can drive trucks through there. There's a lot of area in there for you to get base hits. So by shifting, you're opening holes somewhere. And to the right of Freeman, that's not very hard to hit the ball there. It's pretty easy. Just slap a slider right through there. And then to hit the ball hard to the left of the pitcher, fastball, middle in, that's where you're going to hit it.
That one's got a lot of spin on it. Nice pick on the backhand side by Dansby Swanson.
And then he gets a fastball there that's middle in, and instead of extending through the ball, he gets to the ball. He's a little short, talking about Worth, with his bat. He rolls over with that top hand. It smothers the ball. The bat barrel is now working downward instead of on a flat plane, and you hit a ground ball.
I would be shocked if Bryce Harper had an 0 for series in this ballpark. I'm not sure it's ever happened before. Braves have him 0 for 8 on the weekend with a couple of walks. He had one hard hit ball in the game we did Friday night. That was that line drive that the pitcher, Ryan Weber, deflected to Swanson, and they threw him out on a 1-6-3. There was a line drive later, but it was a soft line drive on the infield. So the Nats need Bryce Harper to drive the ball, start getting on base and doing some damage. 2 weeks from today, the end of the regular season.
Well, Friday night, we spoke about them pitching Bryce away. And if you know you're going to be pitched away, then you have to have a bat angle created that way.
That ball is driven hard, and tough luck. Markakis near it, and then he made the last second adjustment. Might have been knuckling on him or maybe hooking. So that time Bryce Harper centered the ball very well.
Oh, that's a beautiful swing there. That ball worked its way back to the middle of the plate. They wanted it outside. It came right back to the middle. You see the catcher reaching back to backhand it, and that's a ball that they're lucky that didn't travel 450 feet.
Yep.
And that's only about 1/16 of an inch difference in the line drive and a fly ball out of the ballpark.
Clint Robinson, one of the 2 Nats hits. Led off the second with a flare up the middle beyond the reach of the shortstop.
Went to his curveball. It's funny, they talked about this kid having one of the best sliders in the organization, and it has too much downward break for me to be a slider. I think everybody defines a slider differently.
Yeah, I think what they call a cut fastball now is closer to what sliders used to be.
Yes.
And that was Reynaldo Lopez, it appears, about ready to piggyback after Joe Ross. And the Nats go 1-2-3 in the fourth. Whistler pitching well. That was his first strikeout.
Garcia, see a Freeman fastball, can't handle it. Swanson, nice fastball running down and in, 94 miles an hour. Then a slider to Markakis, 109-mile-an-hour bullet to left field. Slider that popped up to right by Flowers, and his day was over. 51 pitches, outstanding performance, coming back off of a long hiatus. Very encouraging.
3 innings, a run on 6 hits, didn't walk anybody. 5 strikeouts, 51 pitches, 38 strikes. So now 22-year-old Reynaldo Lopez will take over. It'll be his 8th appearance as a Nat, his 2nd out of the bullpen. So far 32 innings, 36 hits, 31 strikeouts, and he's had a control issue now and then, walking 16, but we know what a live arm this is.
Well, that control will come. He has a very simple set of mechanics. Every once in a while, he gets in a rush. I remember that New York Met game that he started in New York. It's taking about 8 seconds between pitches. I mean, getting and throwing it, getting and throwing it. And, you know, there's not anybody in the league that has better stuff. We always talk about Syndergaard as the high water mark of power pitchers because he throws harder than any starter in this league. This man is right there with him. I mean, easy 96, 97, 98. We saw him at 99, his last relief appearance. Just needs to refine a little bit, and he's going to make a lot of money in this game if he stays healthy.
Curveball missing, 2-1, low and away to Jace Peterson. RBI single first time. Yeah, he gets it and he's ready. 96 with away movement to the left-handed hitter.
I think you might be looking at, I'm not sure what Dusty's thinking, and certainly Rizzo, about the extra guy that they will have in the bullpen, as we only need 4 starters in a 5-game series. And I think Lopez has a shot at that. And from what I saw today, Joe Ross, I don't think he's going to be ready to start. But when you can bring an arm like this out of the bullpen, He's the type of guy you bring out of the bullpen, runners on first and second, nobody out, strikes 3 people out, and you're just walking into the dugout. There's not a lot of folks who can do that.
Well, 3-2. And he missed. So walks have been an issue for Reynaldo. I think this one's going to be pretty close on the Nissan pitch track.
Yeah, look at the tendency there. Look at all of those pitches away. Now, the pitching coach we had, Larry Shepard, with the Cincinnati Reds, he would judge a guy and his control by where he threw the first 5 or 6 pitches. If all of those pitches are off the plate inside, he would have his pitchers to move on the rubber toward the plate, wherever he's off the plate. So if he's inside on all 5 of those pitches by an inch or 2, then naturally, if you're thinking, just slide over a couple of inches, 3 inches on the mound, and that will get the ball at the edge of the plate with the same delivery. Isn't that the way you did it, Bob?
Well, I do remember moving around different places against different hitters. We never talk about this. Pitchers moving around on the mound. Do they all have one spot and they want the same landing area every time? Or, Ray, will they make adjustments as well? Because, you know, Reynaldo's kind of in the middle of the rubber there. Some guys go first base, third base side. Foul ball with the runner moving, and it's something we don't talk much about because we don't hear much about it.
Do you notice sometimes when a pitcher out there, generally a starter, will get out there on the mound and he'll throw and you'll see a spot where he lands, and then maybe the 3rd inning you'll see him out there scratching again and just scratching and scratching and scratching? That's generally when he's made an adjustment, because he doesn't want to hit in that spot that's not softened up, so he'll move over just a little bit. It happens more than you realize, but most of these guys, they know where they need to be. They figure that out in the bullpen. But a young pitcher, they have a tendency sometimes to be wild in a certain spot, and if you readjust your position on the mound, it gives you a little different angle, and it can help create better control.
We are all for that. Good stuff. 2-1 to Dansby Swanson, who struck out swinging first time up. Nats are 4th in the league in double play balls with 138. That includes all kinds of double plays. So they had Peterson moving earlier, holding here, and a bouncing ball past Defoe and foul. Let's go inside the numbers, brought to you by PNC Bank. So bullpen leaders in September. Dodgers just a little better than the Nats. It's one of the reasons the Mets are playing well. Cubs seem to be in every category. And then look at the Braves. So that's all brought to you by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. Another 3-2 count.
That's the kind of pitch you make 1-2 and then break the slider off away from him 2-2.
Yeah, when you have another pitch to work with.
Right.
We'll see if Peterson's on the move here. He's running, swinging a foul. Dansby Swanson, 87 at bats coming in. One thing they like about him, he makes contact, only 19 strikeouts in those 87 at bats and 8 walks. Payoff pitch again, runner moving, and a ball driven to right, and that's way over Bryce Harper's head. It's going to hit the wall and stay in. A break for the Braves, allowing Peterson to score. And Dansby Swanson's 11th RBI makes it 2-0 Atlanta. Not sure Bryce catches that even if he's in a normal position. That was way out there.
Well, partner, where he's playing is giving him no chance. He's just playing way too shallow on guys with power. I can't be. Look right here in the top corner. I mean, this guy hit one off the wall Friday night. I don't know what he's doing playing that shallow. I mean, there's no reason for it. I believe he could have got there if he's normal right field depth. But I would say he's playing probably 15, 18, maybe even 20 feet shallower than a regular right fielder plays, a normal right fielder. And he's done that the whole series, and I'm not sure why. He's had several balls hit over his head, hasn't made a play on a ball in front of him. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
And this is still relatively new over the last 2 weeks. So a perfect sacrifice by Matt Whistler. Swanson at third, 1 out, and the contact man Inciarte coming up. Nationals down 2-0, infield in, 1 out, 4th inning. The Braves have out hit the Nationals 7-2. You can kind of see that area of slightly yellow colored grass behind Bryce. That's where everybody else plays.
Right in here. I mean, that's a long way. And then there's even back in here where they play. So
big curveball by Lopez. 1-1 Inciarte.
Just from looking up here, looking out there, when I first noted on Friday night, he's playing the way that, and not to wear this out, it's just a fact. He's playing where you would play a pitcher, right-handed pitcher that you want to throw out at first base. It's about where he's playing. So, but you know, we have outfield coaches. We have people that see the same thing we're seeing, so they're not making an adjustment. So that's the game plan.
Look at that swing guiding the ball out of play by Inciarte. One-two pitch with 1 out. Strikeout pitcher, contact guy. And that curveball stays away and low. Counts even 2-2. Overmatching Inciarte with a couple of those hooks, 2 outs.
Well, when you're respecting 97 and he takes that much off with a breaking ball, you're going to be out in front of him. This guy doesn't strike out much. He's just trying to make contact. Anything to get that runner home from third, and the pitch was such a quality pitch he couldn't do a thing with it.
Yeah, 58 strikeouts and 476 at bats before that one. So here's Garcia. He's 1 for 2 with a strikeout and a base hit. Target in from Ramos. That means a heater. And he misses in there. 1-1.
That goes with that theory. Your hardest pitches in, your softest pitches away.
Left side, another one in between. 3-0 Atlanta. And Garcia 2 for 3. That's his 56th RBI. He's another guy intriguing for them for next year because he's a 30-year-old rookie.
He just hung the breaking ball right down the middle. I mean, that was belt high.
Freeman a base hit. Right center-ish last time up, extending his hitting streak to a career high 22 games. That one way out in front of Wilson Ramos. They will walk Freeman and take on Kemp, go righty-righty against him. If you want Bill and Teddy to crash your wedding, explain why in an Instagram video. Use the hashtag NatsWeddingCrashers and do it by Tuesday for your chance to win a visit from Bill and Teddy. $1,000 worth of Budweiser product and a pair of matching Nats jerseys. Visit nationals.com/weddingcrashers. Can't wait to see the results of that one. Matt Kemp 1 for 2, base hit, a run in the bottom of the second. Fly ball to right. He was the first out of that bases loaded, nobody out situation Joe Ross got out of last inning. But now Reynaldo Lopez with a leadoff walk and a couple of hits has given up 2 runs. Inside the Numbers brought to you by Jeep. This guy's made a difference. This is his 44th game with the Braves. 8 of his 34 home runs, 30 of his 99 batted in. He's 4th in the league in both of those categories overall, by the way. This is a lineup that had no power. And now with Kemp, they've got some. Bryce Harper takes care of that. 2 runs for the Braves after 4. They lead 3-0. We're going to the top of the 5th inning. 3-0 Atlanta. When you have insight, you know how to handle your finances with confidence. Here's a Vegas guy, Las Vegas High School. 23-year-old Eric Fetty went to UNLV Nets. Got him from San Diego, originally drafted by the Padres in the 24th round. And he was named to the midseason top 100. So his minor league ledger so far looking pretty good. It's all brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Almost one strikeout per inning. Here's Wilson Ramos to lead off the fifth. 6-4-3 double play ball, first time up. Nationals did pound out 12 hits in that 7-2 win behind Max Scherzer on Friday. Kept quiet yesterday by Josh Colmenter and the Atlanta bullpen. And a quiet offensive day today as Ramos turns on one and just hacks it into left field. Wilson, first hit of this series, and the second time today the Nats have had their leadoff man on.
Strong human being right here. Ball's up. Hits the top of it. Hits it so hard with overspin. All they could do is take one step and watch it go into the outfield.
This is game number 149. Wilson Ramos has now played in 125 of those. He just refuses to let that batting average get under 300. Good for him. Ben Revere up the middle first time, and Dansby Swanson threw him out.
All the outfielders shallow on Ben.
Yeah, if he plugs the right center gap or anywhere near the right field line, most probably 3 bags.
Yeah, I don't think.
Although Wilson Ramos is in front of him. We say in all affection, but they're going to play Ben the way the pattern shows he hits the ball. He tends to pull the grounders and hit the fly balls the other way, and that's a 4.63. Two turned by the Braves today, so the Nats end their next 5 ball games. It's on to Miami for 3. 3-night games, a day off on Thursday, then on to Pittsburgh. So A.J. Cole, Wei-Yin Chen, the lefty, tomorrow. Tanner Roark, Jose Fernandez, quite a matchup on Tuesday. Max Scherzer comes back Wednesday against right-hander Tom Kohler. Bases empty, 2 outs. Danny Espinosa popped up to short first time.
Bob, pitching is about commitment, hitting about commitment. And I see in Ben Revere, he hasn't been committed this season to going the other way. He's hit too many ground balls to the second baseman. If you watch Daniel Murphy and you watch Trey, you watch good hitters, Rendon, they go up there with a mindset. They have an approach. They have a singular thought. They make that pitcher work to them until they get 2 strikes. Ben, his singular thought should be, I'm going to hit the ball to left field. That should be his thought. That's his stroke. But he hasn't done that. He's done it a little bit, but he hasn't done it. You've got to be committed to do that. And it's a different kind of stroke than pulling the ball to second base. You roll over the ball, you're thinking quick, you're thinking you've got to get the barrel out front. Hit the ball to left field, you get a lot longer look at it. You have a flatter swing, and you're
Danny Espinosa strikes out. Yeah, I think one of the shockers of the year is that Ben Revere is hitting 80 points under his career batting average. 3 batters for the Nats in the 5th, 3-0 Atlanta. Cloudy day in Atlanta. The great news is the rain has stayed away. It's an official ball game now as we go bottom 5, home team on top. Nick Markakis 1 for 2. Tyler Flowers, and then Jace Peterson against Reynaldo Lopez, who threw 31 pitches, just 17 strikes in that 4th inning. There was one intentional walk that skewed the ball count a bit. Markakis 1 for 5 career against the Nats. Right-hander, and it's 2-0. Nick's had a good series, 4 for 9. Inside edge elevated in the zone. Strike 1. Into the 3 o'clock hour now. Right now it's all Braves. 3-8-0 Atlanta, 0-3-0 Washington. Joe Ross got in 3 very nice innings today. A run on 6 hits. Struck out 5, didn't walk anybody. Swing and a miss by Markakis. He's down on strikes for the 2nd time today. Mercedes-Benz will track Lopez, number 2.
Well, he just drills him up and in. Left-handers, low ball hitters, can't hit the ball underneath their letters. Not if it crowds them. Perfect pitch for him. 97.
Tyler Flowers, 2 fly balls, 0 for 2. Center field, second base.
Two pretty good pitches. Fastball just off the plate, and a vicious curveball. See, when he wants to throw a strike, he drops down about 94, taking a little bit off of it. Once he feels that he's back in the count, that thing goes up to 96, 97 with really good sideways movement.
Right at Danny Espinosa off the 95 heater. 2 outs, 5th inning. Lopez due to bat second in the 6th. Washington area Toyota dealers helping children and their families. Every time there's a strikeout, we've seen 7 of those today. $37 to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health. Jace Peterson, RBI single, a walk, a run scored. Took a little bit off and just missed with the 85. He's got that up in the zones heater going right now.
Yeah, it's a good spot to throw it. It's hard to lay off that pitch.
3-2. Peterson struck out. Joe Ross had a 1-2-3 first. Reynaldo Lopez a 1-2-3 fifth.
and all military members around the world. You are the true heroes.
Thank you, Trevor Gott. 5 innings in the scorebook already here. 3-0 Braves. 8-9-1 for the Nats, and running the bases not just for the kids anymore. With the purchase of a special ticket, fans ages 60 and older can do that following the Nats Diamondbacks Thursday. It's a 1 o'clock game on September 29th. Get your senior stroll the bases tickets. Visit nationals.com/seniors stroll. On deck circle empty for the moment. Wilmer Defoe leads off, bounced out to Freddie Freeman. First time up. Lopez is at 47 pitches through 2 innings. No swing, says Joe West, as Defoe able to take it. Looks like Lopez coming on out to hit. Well, it's going to be no, the Nats are going to go with the pinch hitter now.
Yeah, you got to. When you're down 3 runs, now it's not about keeping them from scoring. It's about getting those 3 runs back. So you have to go offensive now.
And Brian Goodwin will get that call. 2-0 pitch. Nats will take base runners any way they can get them. Robinson's 2nd inning leadoff single, erasing a double play. Joe Ross, the hardest hit ball of the day, along with Bryce Harper's line drive in the 4th. And then last inning rather, Wilson Ramos, his leadoff single, erased on a 4-6-3.
I like FP's philosophy here. You're 3 runs down, take a pitch.
Rain coming down on a 3-1 count. And Defoe will drill it to center. To his left is Inciarte to grab it. So the crowd starting to scramble. Well, we had a window of just over an hour and a half, after which the game started to get to a point in the 6th inning where the rain comes down again. Rafael Martin on the right, Matt Belisle on the left. Goodwin as a pinch hitter. 2 for 5, overall hitting .292. He's 10 for 24 in 13 games. We've been impressed. Ryan had a good year, hitting .284 at AAA Syracuse, 62 RBIs, 11 home runs, stole 14 bags. And he drills one to left. Matt Kemp comes sliding in to the backhand side to grab it. 2 down. Nats are having a hard time finding any holes out there today.
It's our sixth line drive on the day. It's a pretty good jump on the ball. Gets it about 2 inches above the ground.
Well, Matt Whistler has guys making plays because he's working fast. He's been around the plate all day. Hasn't walked anybody. 2 out of 3 hits erased on ground ball double plays. Trey Turner looking for his first base hit today. Drilled one to center field last time up. This one is not catchable. To right center it goes. It's going to scoot on that wet grass. Now it goes to the wall, and Turner is digging for 3. Ball off the glove of Inciarte, but you can't give a guy an error on a play like that. That's a 3-bagger for Trey Turner, and that will be his 7th triple in 60 games.
We talked about how he hits the ball well to right field also. They tried to get the fastball in on him. He's hit home runs that go away with the breaking ball. He splits the gap in right field. Just keeps his bat through the hitting zone for such a long time. He gives himself a chance to make solid contact, and most of the time he does.
Well, Jason Worth trying to get the Nats on the board here. That would be huge in the 6th inning. Down by 3. Worth 0 for 2. Line drive up the middle. Caught by Peterson. And then another ground ball up the middle, cut off by the shortstop Swanson. Good breaking ball to the outside edge by Matt Whistler. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fourth start for Whistler since he came off the DL. Had a strained oblique on his left side. And Jason Worth, the victim of a good breaking ball there. 1-2.
Well, you know it's a good one when this is your 3rd at bat and he's seen it 3 or 4 times. It still makes you look like that.
And maybe a heater there to get back to that hook. We'll see on a 2-2 pitch. Nissan will show you the at bat here. He goes with the fastball up and away. 3-2. Bryce Harper stung it last time. He's on deck. Rain coming down hard now. They are really scrambling for the concourses. 3-2 pitch to Jason. And he gets one into left field to the corner. Turner scoring. Worth an extra base hit. That'll be his 65th RBI. We've got our eyeballs on Joe West, the crew chief, at 3rd base. And they're going to pull the teams off the field right now at 3:15 Eastern time. I mean, it is really coming down. So the Nats get on the board right before the rain delay. Jason Worth, RBI number 65, and Bryce Harper bats whenever that may be. He will represent the tying run. And Ray, I guess as you look at today, I mean, I'm looking out the door, front door of the hotel, and looking out the windows earlier than that at this weather, and I'm thinking, is this really going to mess with Joe Ross getting out there and trying to make his start? On the great side of things, Joe got to get out there for 3 innings uninterrupted by any weather, so that is a very good thing in terms of his road back.
No doubt, Bob. You're trying to accomplish things, and sometimes it's not only to win ball games, but it's to find out things, get people healthy, get yourself in position to be better tomorrow. And mission accomplished as far as Joe Ross. Just the only thing you have to wait on now is see how he recovers, how he feels tomorrow, if he's sore in any unusual places. But he'll do his regular routine, and hopefully there's nothing but good soreness. And so that's what you take out of the day. And then hopefully this rain will get out of here and we'll come up there and give a Bryce a shot to tie this thing up.
Yeah, and right now the infield has been covered, and they got that done in about 2 minutes. So well done by the Atlanta grounds crew here. So the situation is, and you guys know our regular drill, we're going to take you to ESPN News now, and then we will update you at the bottom of the hour, which is 12-13 minutes away, and then every 30 minutes thereafter. Right now it's 3-1 Atlanta. minutes or so. Here's our game summary brought to you by Cox's new Contour. Get right to the good stuff. So Trey Turner, he was 0 for 2 before igniting something right before the rain. He tripled to right center. Then he scored on an RBI double by Jason Worth. So Jason's 27th double, RBI number 65. Bryce Harper was about to come up to the plate when the rains came, and Joe West pulled everybody off the field at 3:15 Eastern time. Now this is going to result in a pitching change by the Braves, and it could be a 1 or 2 batter thing with Harper and Robinson coming up. So Ray, let's take a look at what Trey Turner and Jason Worth were able to do right before the rains came to get the offense going.
Well, Trey just drove a ball into right center field gap, gets to third base easily as the rain had started to fall, and then wrote to left field by Jason, drives him in, puts a runner on second base, cuts the lead to 3-1.
So there's Jason Worth out at second base, and former Nat Ian Kroll, 25 years of age, 58th appearance for the Braves in 48 innings. Rather hittable, 50 hits, but 51 strikeouts. Bryce Harper's career matchup number against him, 1 for 3 after Kroll pitched in the 7th inning and got Bryce on that line drive off his glove on Friday night. So he's in the stretch. Here comes the pitch. And it happens at 4:22, so a 1 hour and 7-minute rain delay. Nats are going to change pitchers anyway, hitting for Reynaldo Lopez earlier in the inning. Harper is 0 for 2. Some of that water that was standing in the short parts of the outfield, not visible to us now, but it could get interesting if anything happens in front of the outfielders.
Yeah, there was a puddle out there right between the infield and the outfield, about, looked like it's 2-3 inches deep. Finally seeped in, but any ball that's hit out there is going to be wet for sure, and I think it will slow down. I don't even know if it'll get to the outfielder if it's hit on the ground.
Yeah, a lot of water on the warning tracks out there. Bryce Harper takes a pitch in the zone, up a bit. 2 balls, 1 strike. We'll check it.
Just a tad high. Right at the top of the strike zone, out away from him.
Bryce sitting on 81 RBIs. Low and in. His last RBI, Bryce's, was a week, actually last Monday, when he walked with the bases loaded in the first inning of that 8-1 win over the Mets.
Well, he needs to look. Left-handers actually hitting higher than right-handers off of Kroll, 277 to 256.
3-1 pitch. And Bryce, solid contact, way out ahead. Last time up, he hit a hard line drive at Nick Markakis out in right field. Evidently that ball got in on him and he broke his bat. So before it was Martin and Belisle, now Mark Zepchinski has joined him. The Braves have 8, 9, and 1 due up in the bottom of the 6th.
All fastballs. Stone Bryce, all fastballs. He has a good breaking ball. He's challenged him with 3 fastballs all over the place.
3-2 pitch. Harper, left center, ball falling, and it's on the ground. Harper with a base hit. Great effort by Inciarte, but the Nationals have it back to a 3-2 game. Harper, RBI number 82.
That's the kind of hit that'll get you going. He throws him out away from him, hits it right off the end of the bat. Big swing. Outfielder's going to hold his ground or maybe even break back. You see him there. He broke back, started an angle 2 or 3 steps to his right, and then couldn't get there. That's a tendency. And them big boys hit it off the end of the bat. You see that big swing. Certainly not going to break in on it.
That closes the book on Whistler, who gives up the 2 runs. Cannot lose the game. He could get a no decision if the Nats get back even. Yeah, Whistler was kind of cruising along until Turner got him for that triple and worth the double. He'll end up 5 2/3 with only 66 pitches. 1-0 to Clint Robinson, who's 1 for 2. And 1 for 1 career against Ian Kroll.
That was 88 miles an hour. I don't know if it's a changeup or a slider. It just didn't. It didn't do anything. It just stayed chest high. Didn't have any spin on it.
Three consecutive 2-out hits. Triple, double, single.
I know that track out there is really wet. They got the tarp on pretty quickly. Kroll very slow and deliberate to the plate once he lifts his leg. Some of these left-handers are hard to read, though.
Yeah, Bryce, not a very big lead. 1-2 to Robinson. Ooh, and Clint took that one hard. I don't know if he had time to turn away from that pitch, and he is doubled over. He's going to get up and take a tough walk and now a jog down to first base. How tough is Clint Robinson?
A lot of hitters with 2 strikes, they're looking away. They're not going to give, and here's a pitch inside, and it actually, where did that ball hit him off his elbow?
Looked like I thought he got him on the forearm. Under, not far from the elbow, if that's the case. Wow. So that's it for Ian Kroll, who comes in and fails to retire either Harper or Robinson. Wilson Ramos now coming up, tying runs at second base. Air Force, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces and their families for over 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA. And by DynCorp International, proudly serving our nation for 70 years. So we air today's game on MASN, celebrating the birthday of the U.S. Air Force. We thank all of our armed forces for their dedication in protecting the safety and security of America. Chaz Rowe was downright nasty when he came into the ball game on Friday night, with breaking balls flying all over the place, and Wilson Ramos will have to deal with that.
2-pitch pitcher, fastball, breaking ball, fastball runs into you, and the breaking ball just breaks. Slider, he has 2 of them. He has a slider that kind of stays flat, but with a big break.
Struck
Flat
out
break.
Ramos, pardon me, Ray struck out Ramos swinging on Friday night. Tying runs at second base, Harper with Robinson behind him in what's now become a really good top of the sixth for Washington. Ramos unable to reach it. 0-2.
And there's the big one. He's got one that he kind of throws for a strike. And then that one that just sweeps.
A lot of the crowd sticking around. They've got a post-game concert here today. And the 0-2, did Ramos go? He did, says Kerwin Danley at first. And the inning's over. Chaz Rowe, he's been bringing out the hook this weekend. Ball brought to you by T-Mobile. Albert Pujols keeps getting it done. He joins Hank Aaron's, Barry Bonds, and A-Rod. 14 seasons with 30 home runs or more. It's amazing. Curtis Granderson, first Met ever to hit 2 extra inning homers. They were able to win that game last night against Minnesota, and they will be without Jacob deGrom. He's originally scheduled to start today. Sandy Alderson made the announcement a couple of days ago that he was done. Mets, by the way, won their game over Minnesota today, their 3rd straight. So the Nats will have to win to get that magic number down to 5. Here's Rafael Martin, 32-year-old right-hander. And this time around with the Nats, it'll be his 4th appearance, an inning and 2/3 so far. There's that 88 fastball.
Funky, though. Gives you a whole lot of front side. Hides the baseball exceptionally well. Good slider.
And a good curveball is in there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Facing Dansby Swanson for the first time. Last time up, Brave shortstop doubled over the head of Bryce Harper. There's former Nat and former a lot of ball clubs, Emilio Bonifacio. He just got called up yesterday. Their Gwinnett AAA ball club finished the playoffs, and they brought a couple more guys to the big leagues. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Braves box, a run in the 2nd. RBI Jace Peterson, who's 1 for 2 with a walk. Adonis Garcia, 2 hits. Freeman on base twice. Freddie has a 22-game hitting streak. Matt Kemp and Nick Markakis each have 10-game hitting streaks with base hits today. 3-2. Front door breaking ball stays up and in.
These young pitchers, they're going to have to realize, and you know they're not trying to do it, but if you're going to stay in the big leagues, you can't walk leadoff hitters late in the game. Just can't do it. Even the veterans do it, but you got to have that. That's an ability. Concentrate. 3-2 pitch.
So Dusty Baker about to make a double switch. We'll check it all out for you. Update you from Atlanta when we come back. 3-2 ball game. Trying to keep it that way. Miami and Marlins Park tomorrow night. Hey, no rain delays in South Florida anymore. A.J. Cole to the mound for the Nats. He's 1-2 in 5 starts. League only hitting .236 against him. And a good strikeout total so far. He will go against Wei-Yin Chen of the Marlins, who's 5-4 and has been having some left elbow issues. Johnny Holiday and a guy named Ray Knight will join you from the studio at 6:30 with Nats Extra on Masson 2 tomorrow night. FP will be back with us, and here's Mark Zepchinski, the Nats lefty. Here's a guy who throws strikes, Ray, as a rule, and with the Nats it'll be his 10th appearance already.
Keeps the ball down, gets ground balls, not overpowering, but that sinker can be overpowering just because of the late movement. Slider's good. And he gets right-handed hitters out.
Ryan Zimmerman in on the double switch, but I'm trying to figure out if it is a true double switch or just a defensive change, because the first baseman's spot, yeah, he'll be batting ninth.
He should, yeah, definitely double switch.
Yeah, it'll be
ninth, and
ninth is only 4 spots away
right
now that Glenn Robinson's out of the game. Bonifacio will turn around and bat from the right side here. 0 for 2 with the Braves from that side of the plate. And against Mark Zepchinski, career, he's 1 for 3. He's going to bunt it. Trying to bunt it hard toward Ryan Zimmerman, or between the pitcher and the first baseman. Strike one.
It makes it a lot easier for him when there's a left-handed pitcher on the mound. He's falling off the third base. Gives him a little bit more area to push the ball by him. Zim has to stay there, or Swanson has a type of speed that he can steal. So
swings away, and it's a base hit. That ball just stops in the outfield, so Jason Worth has to run in hard to get it.
Well, I wanted to get it out, but I couldn't. Defoe playing right on top of the hitter, you're going to bunt the ball to first base. So as a third baseman, you don't have to play on top of it. He's not going to try to bunt it that way. Look how close he is. He's going to bunt this ball to first base. That's just where the play goes with a left-handed pitcher, with the first baseman holding him on. So with the experience, he will learn to play back a step or two, and he probably would have had that ball.
Top of the order now, Ender Inciarte. 1 for 3 career against Zepchinski. So he showed bunt, pitch low and away. Well, Braves trying to answer the Nationals rally here. That is low, 2-0. Mercedes-Benz will have a look. How close?
That was a strike based upon what we're looking at. Now, Defoe is now way in. Situation changes. First and second. You designed, taught to bunt the ball to the third baseman, make him field the ball. So it's a totally different situation. It is his responsibility.
Inciarte bunts it straight back, 2-1.
But just because it's a bunting situation doesn't mean that you play in the same spot. It depends on what the situation is. I would actually be cheating more in here, so that I could try, even though Inciarte runs well, I could try for a double play if he bunts the ball hard. You just have to be able to get back for the throw if he bunts it back to the pitcher.
He's going to bunt it right to Wilmer Defoe. Low throw. And that required a pick by Trey Turner, who evidently can pick it at first as well. So a good sacrifice bunt. It goes 5-4.
He's in there pretty nicely. This is really a good bunt. He gets in there quickly. The ball does die right there. Good speed on first base. No chance to do anything but make the play at first base.
Yeah, short hop into the mitt or the glove of Turner there. So here's Adonis Garcia. Huge at bat here. Left-handed Freddie Freeman on deck. Garcia 0 for 1 against Zepchinski. And he gets ahead.
This is really tough. This is toughest decision for a manager to make here. Infield in, second and third, base hit, puts you up 3 runs. Do you walk this guy and pitch again to Freeman, their best hitter? I think the odds generally is to walk this guy, let your shortstop and second baseman play back, take the pressure off of them, short throw, you get a good pitch, ground ball, Freeman can't run a lick, double play. But you're also pitching to their best hitter,
who's on a 22-game hitting streak.
Exactly.
0-1. The other element to this is Garcia strikes out a lot, and if you can get him, then you've got a chance
to walk Freeman.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to pitch to Matt Kemp, lefty righty, but
well, it depends. I mean, it all depends on who you think's this guy's got the best shot to get out.
And now, yeah, and this is what I talked about earlier. These guys in the middle of their lineup, Freeman, Kemp, Markakis, all on long hitting streaks. And that ball is into left field. Quite a start at second base by Bonifacio. He would have scored anyway, and the Braves lead 5-2. I mean, he wasn't that far behind Dansby Swanson.
Well, he's always been a great base runner, smart base runner. And there you go. 0-2 pitch. All right. You say you need a strikeout. I'll give you that. But you better make a good pitch. 0-2. You get the ball out there. You expand the plate 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. You elevate a foot and a half. You can't throw the ball anywhere the guy can hit the ball hard.
So a base hit, 2 batted in, and Garcia has driven in 3 today. Here's Freddie Freeman. First run charged to Martin, who walked Dansby Swanson to lead off the inning. Counts even, 1-1 to Freeman.
Another thing, Bob, I think people pay too much attention to, oh, this guy's hot. He's got a 7-game hitting streak. He's 14 games in a row getting on base. It's one at bat against a pitcher that's just got to get you out. It's one out. And, you know, you make pitches, you get people out. It doesn't matter who they are.
That ball to left center. That's going to roll to the wet warning track. Garcia coming around. He will score. And it's 6-2 as the Nats bullpen is having a rough inning. For Freddie Freeman, his 40th double, his 76th extra base hit, and he now has 81 batted in, or rather 80.
Such a simple game. Make pitches, you get them out. Don't make pitches, they hit you hard. Fastball down a little, but right down the middle of the plate. And a guy like him, he's going to hit it hard.
There's Blake Trinan, who usually pitches late in the game when the Nats are ahead, and Dusty has him warming up down by 4 runs in the 6th.
What do you think about expanded roster, Bob?
I don't like him at all. I mean, I believe in expanding the rosters, Ray. My thought is a maximum of 6 players, 3 pitchers, 3 position players. But I'm more in favor of 5 extra guys, and at least 2 of them have to be either pitchers or position players. You know, not adding 5 bullpen guys, but maybe 3, 2 position players or vice versa. But this, you know, this 39, 40 man thing that's going on is just crazy.
And it's really new to the game over the last 15 years or so. Teams that are good teams, they normally bring up, you know, 3 guys, 4 guys. You always a catcher, usually a guy that has some speed, and a couple of bullpen guys just to take some slack off. You know.
Yeah. But when teams have 13 and 14 man bullpens, and the Nats
makes it hard.
The Nats aren't the only one.
It makes it hard to make a decision sometimes, though.
Today the Braves have 10 extra men. The Nats have 9, and that's not counting the pitchers. So I don't know. You know, I believe in giving your best minor leaguers that reward, if that's what they're in line for, to come up and spend a month in the major leagues. All for that. But it troubles a lot of us that the game is played totally differently in September than it was for 5 months.
Yeah, and I'm one of those guys.
Nick Markakis is the 7th Brave to bat in the inning. 2 for 8 career with an RBI against Zepchinski. So runners at first and second, still only 1 out. On the base hit first time, and then a couple of strikeouts.
On the flip side of that, and I'm not playing devil's advocate because I agree 100% with what you're saying. You have guys like Burnett and Zepchinski and Grace, and you get to look at a guy like Burnett, who has not pitched. Grace has been really effective in the past here. Perez has struggled quite a bit this year, and you want to have your best couple of left-handers that you have in your organization out there, but it's not.
Wilson Ramos to throw to second, and he recovers to throw out Matt Kemp.
Some kind of smart play.
He knew he had no shot at third,
play.
So he went for Kemp. 2-6 on that one.
Smart play right there by Ramos. Throws a seed moving toward third base. Not an easy way to make this throw, but look at him round it. He rounds it off as he goes, picks up the ball. That makes the throw possible. Watch how he goes and gets around this baseball. Gets around it, so he gets off his back leg, throws off a pea, gets rid of it quickly. But that's all in pre-preparation, making your throw by barehanding it and getting that back foot in position to throw. Nice job.
2-1 to Markakis. Looked like Matt Kemp tried to slide, and his body bounced straight up off of that wet dirt down there. Or maybe he was trying to swim move to get away from the tag, but that was a great throw by Wilson Ramos. Three-one pitch. Strike call. To the right side for Trey Turner. That's it. Braves pick up a couple, in fact 3 in the 6th. Today marks the U.S. Air Force's 69th birthday. USAA honors those who have served in the U.S. Air Force and all of our service members around the world. We salute.
Around the world, you are our true heroes.
Thank you, A.J. Cole, and good luck starting in Miami tomorrow. There's one of our heroes on the field here in Atlanta. Celebrate the fun, whimsical side of the political season. You didn't know there was one, did you? Election night, Nats Park, Friday the 30th. First 25,000 fans receive their choice of a Nationals branded donkey or elephant mascot figurine while supplies last. For details and tickets, visit nationals.com/election night. One's on the left and one was on the right. Here's Shea Simmons taking over for the Braves here, 26-year-old right-hander. And it'll be his 7th appearance, sporting a 1.59 ERA so far.
He likes his fastball, throws a lot of fastballs. Elevates with 2 strikes. Has the good slider and throws a changeup on occasion. Not a lot of changeups.
Ben Rivero for 2 against him. Up in the zone, strike 1.
He's one of those 4-seam guys right over the top. It throws more pitches up than he does down.
Ben today, ground ball to short. It was actually up the middle and cut off by Swanson to throw him out. 2nd inning, 4-6-3 double play ball after a Ramos leadoff single in the 5th.
I thought that hit him.
I don't know how he got out of the way. was down around his shoe
Must
tops.
have went between his legs. Fastball inside.
And Ben Revere got the brunt of that one.
Going in there again.
Revere and cut off. Peterson out at first on the call by Kerwin Danley.
He gets a good pitch to hit and just excellent range. You mentioned how Peterson has speed to steal bases. That translates to range on the diamond.
Yeah, not bad for a guy who sat out the first 2 games of the series coming back from a sprained ankle. And next up is Danny Espinosa. Wilmer Defoe to follow here. Then Ryan Zimmerman, if it gets that far, top of the 7th.
First 3 innings of the game, that would have been a base hit. It's softened up out there with the rain, moisture.
A lot of credit to the Atlanta grounds crew for getting the game back underway, getting the field ready. Hard rain starting very early this morning and then throughout most of the late morning to early afternoon. Finally got this thing started at 1:36. There's Trevor Gott.
Good young arms coming up in the organization. It's good for them to get a cup of coffee late. It's a part of the development.
One and two to Danny Espinosa, and he chops it straight down. One for 5 in the series.
Starting to sprinkle again, partner.
Yeah, see some fans heading back upstairs. Kind of figured it might be that kind of day in Atlanta as we get to the 5 o'clock hour here. That's a breaking ball, and Danny Espinosa frozen. 2 down on the strikeout. So our 5 o'clock reset. Bob and Ray with you. FP back with us in Miami tomorrow night. Ray will be back in the studio with his sidekick Johnny Holiday as the Nats open up that 3-game series at Miami.
Well, my partner's happy. Maryland 3-0. They pulled out one last night in double overtime.
And he sent me a text earlier today, very complimentary about the job you're doing here.
Oh, really? Probably because I called him and said, hey, send Bob a text.
What to know? He didn't say he felt sorry for me, but he shouldn't. We're having a great time here, even though the Nats are on the rough end of one here. Trying to get aboard is Wilmer Defoe. Some of the downtown buildings, which have been hidden all day, are again visible. to the north of us. And Defoe will serve one to left. Nice swing.
Sweet stroke.
Defoe is 11 for 40 on the year. He's a good fielder. And if we saw enough of him, you'd probably notice some unexpected pop in that bat as well.
He just stays there and look at him. He has no give to his swing. His head goes to the ball. His bat stays on plane, doesn't roll over. And that makes good for a lot of line drives.
Great at bat. Here's Ryan Zimmerman. Ryan in the series, 1 for 7 with a walk. Up there ripping. He saw a fastball inner half.
And he swung the bat pretty doggone well the last couple of months. I mean, last couple of weeks for sure. You know, he's been in and out early with those problems, but the last couple of weeks he's hit the ball hard. I'd just love to see him get hot, because nobody gets hotter than him when he starts sizzling.
Yeah, right now having a hard time keeping the gloves dry, shaking water off the helmet visor. Front door breaking ball for a strike. 0-2. Tough conditions to pitch. Get that push off, and obviously to hit. 0-2, and he tried the front door breaker again. It was low.
Almost the same pitch. Almost the same pitch. This isn't going to look much different.
Wow, that was way up into the zone. No wonder Simmons was walking toward his dugout. Seventh inning, 6-2 Braves. They've come on strong to out-hit the Nats 11-7. They're trying to win a series against our ball club for the first time all year. Best divisional record against an opponent the Nats ever had. 2 years ago, 15-4 against the Mets. It would take a win today to surpass that. Two pitch to Zimmerman. Pretty good hack, and he pounded it off the screen. And fair ball down to the backhand side of Garcia. Boy, it looked like Defoe was at the bag, but he's called out by Mark Ripperger. I'm sure the Nationals dugout will have a look at this. He was all over that bag. Defoe not arguing at all. So we'll hold on for a second here to see what the Nats might be thinking. Meanwhile, the guy singing God Bless America is already halfway to the mound. So he will pause in his tuxedo, and we shall see what happens here.
They're going to try to move this thing along.
The Nats are going to challenge. Well, the umpires might want it to move along, but I think if you're the Nats, man, you handle this like it's 85 degrees and sunny right now. Oh. Trying to keep this inning alive, and Trey Turner would be next, Ray, so that's huge.
It's hard to tell, but if you look at the foot, I can still see the ball not there from that other angle.
Wow, that's bang bang.
It surely is. And when I said they'll want to move it along, I I can't tell. I can't tell. I'm just saying if it is, when I watch his foot, I'll say when it's there. Now, and the ball is not nestled in his glove. But I've been wrong on about 50 of these.
Well, they're going to call him out.
That's what I'm saying. Bang it on. That's what they'll do.
7th inning stretch and take me out to the ball game. Ryan Zimmerman and the Nats frustrated. Presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Just trying to invoke some warm, sunny memories with our traffic shot there. So we're going to the bottom of the 7th inning. Right now, Joe West is kind of milling around between home plate and third base, surveying the situation. Andy Fletcher, the home plate umpire, just went out and handed a baseball to Trevor Gott, who will take over for the Nats here. It's a tough call for the umpires. You've already had one delay of an hour and 7 minutes. Then you play for a while. Then it starts raining again. It is an official ball game in terms of innings played. So we'll see how this works out. Here's Trevor Gott for the Nats. Not a big guy, but he can bring it. 5th appearance, 3 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 3 Ks, 3 walks.
There's another one of those deliveries that's very difficult for a hitter to pick it up. He starts that thing off slow and then just gathers momentum rapidly and then jumps at you, throws a glove at you. Very quick arm.
And then Stephen Drew will become the cleanup hitter and play third base as he comes in for the bottom of the 7th on the double switch. Tyler Flowers, Jace Peterson, Dansby Swanson, bottom 7. And I know we've told you this numerous times before, but once the lineup cards have been exchanged, control of whether the game is played or not is in the hands of the crew chief, Joe West. Home team up until that time. And Gott's fastball runs inside to Tyler Flowers, who is 0 for 2 career against him. They matched up in the American League a bit. Gott with the Angels and Flowers with the White Sox. Out of play right side. Baseball thrown out, a new one. There's a breaking ball, well hit to right. Bryce Harper back, and that's over his glove. Bryce appeared to have a beat on it. Leadoff double, Tyler Flowers.
Well, this is kind of a fly ball, and Bryce just doesn't get back there. Remember, too, not making an excuse, but that outfield is awful soggy. Very difficult to get a good foothold and make it spin and go hard. Not baseball conditions right now. This is what you play football on. This is a very skilled sport, and inclement weather, it takes a lot of things away. Especially defensively.
Yeah, when you're standing out there, I was about to ask you this question. Is concentration a bigger effort conditions like this?
You know, Bob, that's a hard question. I mean, you would say yes. I can only go by myself, and I never had trouble concentrating defensively. I had trouble sometimes in offense just keeping it right where I wanted to, because you can get distracted and have extraneous thoughts. But defensively, you know, I just don't know of any situation that you should not concentrate all the time. I know it's a long season, and I hear people say, well, it's really tough to play when you've played this many games in a row and all that, but I just didn't find that to be the case. Certainly, you know, in certain situations you might want to get out of town when things aren't going well, but I think probably a stronger reason why, other than the footing, is it's darker. It's not as bright. Got all that rain falling. I don't know this distraction, but there's no way that you see the ball as sharply. So it's just tougher to play.
Jace Peterson having a tough at bat here. He's tried to tough in terms of hanging tough. He's tried to bunt a couple of times. Six-2 ball game, bottom of the 7th. Trevor Gott's breaking ball stays up and away, 3-2.
Sometimes when you have a guy that throws sidearm, you have to really work hard to keep your hand on top of the ball, or you'll start getting sliders that just kind of spin and stay flat. That's a nice looking fastball. When you see that much run on TV, when you see a fastball look like it's running 12 inches, imagine what that looks like at the plate. Look at the run on this fastball. I mean, it's just late, quick, and in a great spot. I like this kid's arm.
Upstairs for the strikeout at 93. Look quicker than that. 24-year-old Trevor Gott. A lot of hurry on that heater. 1 out here in the 7th.
Well, hitters don't like for pitchers to jump at you. It just something just is not comfortable about it. Ball comes out of nowhere. You got all that stuff coming at you. There's a sinker baller able to go up and elevate. 93.
Dansby Swanson, the hitter. Just a moment ago after that strikeout, Joe West walked over toward the pitcher's mound so that Trevor Gott could hear him. And he said, "Is the mound okay? Is the rubber okay?" Trevor gave him the thumbs up. So say what you will about Joe West. The guy knows how to run a ball game, and he's concerned about the player's safety because he's the guy who makes the call to whether this game continues. And I thought that was very cool that he checked with our pitcher to make sure the footing was okay.
I think he's a great umpire. I've known him for 30 years. I think he's a great umpire. You know, he had a temper when he was young. He's a guy that doesn't like, you know, any foolishness. He wants the game just the way it is, and he'll throw you out in a heartbeat. Now, he will. He's the man in charge. A little bit like Bruce Fromming was.
Oh, and 2 to Dansby Swanson. Front door breaking ball, a beauty, and he strikes out another. Trevor Gott's got some kind of stuff.
Well, watch how he yields there. His left side just yielded because that breaking ball was coming at him, and all of a sudden it just moves suddenly across the plate, and he's got nothing left.
Pinch hitter rookie Rio Ruiz has been announced. That gets Dusty out of the dugout. They'll take the ball from Trevor Gott. So more pitchers, more pinch hitters. A rainy day in Georgia.